Quentin Tarantino in the studio with us. The film comes out
the 21st.
The 21st. I got the chance to see it, Quentin, and I've been there with you since the beginning. I'm one of the guys that I had the opportunity to see Reservoir Dogs in the theater.
Oh, good deal.
Real small theater in St. Petersburg. I drove, went and picked up all my friends from work and said...
In Russia?
No, this is in Florida. But it was one of those deals where I said to my friends, I'm taking you I'm taking you to a movie now. Mm-hmm. I just saw it. Don't ask me about it. We know nothing about it. Because I went to that film based on just the name, you know? Yeah. And sitting there watching this film the other night, Inglourious Basterds, I feel like I'm still on that ride with you, man.
Oh, that's really great to hear, man. I appreciate that. Thanks a bunch.
What was really cool about it, too, is, I'm there, I'm like, all right, I'm going to see, Tarantino film. This is it. And seconds into it, the suspense that took me into tension, I'm like, I'm not even sure if I'm ready for this.
That's great.
Now, the tense moments that you'll find in a film like that, does that come out on the page, or are you directing that? I mean, how do you know you're going to find that perfectly?
No, it's kind of a combination. It does really start on the page. I have to, I have to deliver it on the page. I have to know that it works as far as that's concerned on the page, and then from there, then you just kind of sculpt it, whether you're shooting it or in the editing room. But yeah, no, I have to feel that it works just from reading it, and that's the deal. One of the things about I think is different with this film than a lot of the other ones I've done is. I really do go in for suspense in a big way in this movie, in a way that's a little different than I've done before. I remember when Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction had come out, some critic said something to the effect of, Tarantino will never be a master of suspense because he's too in love with minutia. And I actually thought that was a fair enough statement back then. And so this was sort of my way to kind of throw my hat in the suspense ring. And the way I decided to go at it, which might be different than other people, was... you gotta okay, whether it be the opening scene or the scene in the tavern that happens in the middle of the movie. It's like you have a scene that's playing basically on the surface of the story. Okay, there's a scene playing, and underneath that scene is is the suspense. And the suspense to me is like a rubber band.
Right.
And I'm just stretching and stretching and stretching and seeing how far I can stretch the rubber band before it breaks. And where I'm trying to go with it, as far as my level of or my attitude of suspense, is normally when you do a movie, you're trying to make the scenes as compact as possible so they have the most effect. In this situation, as long as I can make the scene and that rubber band still has stretch in it, the better and the more suspenseful it is.
And we can't believe the character's talking. They're talking kindly, but in your head you're going, he knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah.
And it just keeps pulling you more into it. Till finally you want to say, look, I'll just tell you where the family's hiding. Just let me...
Just get out of my life.
let's just stop this now. But those scenes, I thought, those were so beautiful. And it's, you're doing this stuff too, it's tougher for a claustrophobic to watch because you're putting them in tighter places. You're in that basement tavern, and of course in the theater. In Kill Bill, you did it with the coffin, but you're really taking us in.
Oh, so you got a claustrophobia problem?
I only in your films. But any one of those would be a claustrophobic's nightmare.
Yeah,
you know.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the thing about, I remember when Harvey Weinstein came to visit the set when we were doing the scene in that little basement tavern scene, and he goes, "This is so damn small. I thought it was going to be much bigger." I go, "No, that's the problem. No one can get out of anybody's way. They're all just kind of jammed up with each other because it's so darn small."
Yeah, and you're in there with Nazis.
Yeah, exactly. And if a shootout were to happen, no one's going to miss because everyone's too damn close to each other. You can't swing a cat without hitting a Nazi.
And then that's the other point too. Is you learn about these characters, and for me. Even though you're not on screen, I'm still kind of aware of you the whole time. And I'm even thinking to myself, this guy killed Vincent Vega. He's going to kill other people that we love here.
Well,
no one's safe.
Yeah, well, I really hope that that's how people feel when they watch my movie, that it doesn't have the kind of contrivances that you see in a lot of different films as far as that's concerned. Anything can happen to anybody. And that really should be the case in a war movie, because that is the idea of war. That's gotta be the most terrifying thing about it. That, you stop to take a rock out of your shoe and you die.
Right. And we could lose any of those people. And some of the people in this film, and of course I don't want to give it away because not everybody's seen it yet, but there's like heroic acts that no one else is going to know about. Other than us.
That's a big deal. I mean, there is there is an aspect in the film. There's a few characters. There's one character in particular. I don't want to say which one it is, though. There is a character in particular that to me is really a stand-in for all the heroes of World War II or of any war that we'll never know about.
Right.
Because there was no history writer there. There was no one alive to tell their story. So they're lost to the pages of history. They're foam on the beach. No one will ever know. But they could affect the war or affect situations in a very profound way.
Right. And at one point I thought that person was making a record for the world, but you had taken it in another direction.
That's good. Oh, I'm glad that you didn't really get where they were coming from until you were there. That's wonderful.
No, and then that totally was spinning me.